Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Ted Hicks, Late Night Parents. Ways to contact the show, latenightparents.com. On Twitter, Late Night Parent. Real Ted Hicks. Facebook.com/Late Night Parents. In here with special guest host. Yeah, guest host.
Guest host.
Guest host. I'm just here, driving the bus.
No. You are the bus. We're just along for the ride. That's all.
Oh, my goodness. Richie V is in the house.
What's up, Teddy Ted?
What's going on, man?
Nothing.
Same old.
Yeah.
Usually we would do, we're going to do a few things differently. And I don't know if it's because Veterans Day is coming up. I don't know if in the next 47 hours or the polls will be closed.
It'll be a new world.
I want to thank our featured sponsor, Verizon Fios, as always, for sponsoring the show. I want to say thank you, guys. Fortunately for us and the listeners, but unfortunately for Verizon and everyone else that usually gets played on the promos, they won't get played tonight.
Thank you, Verizon.
But thank you, Verizon. Thank you also to our friends, Don'tHateTheKing.com. Thank you to the Happy Hour Network, Val Vandenberg and Associates, and we're going to leave it there. All the other folks that distributed the show, want to say thank you, guys, and we're going to get into it. Because usually this will be my little monologue where I sit here and ramble about certain things, but not tonight. There's too many different things going on. But most importantly, got to give a shout out to our law enforcement. There's a lot of things that have said about law enforcement. Are they doing this? Are they following the right protocol? Or, we've heard so much against them. But what about the ones that are there to support us? The tens of thousands across, our local cities and hundreds of thousands across this country. We have a fallen officer. I want to get his name correct. Paul Tuzzolo. Rich, I want to hand it over to you because this is near and dear to you and your family and all the good things that you do.
Well, yeah. Thank you, Ted. So, yes, you know my feelings about law enforcement in general. I always support the police and law enforcement unless they are proven otherwise.
Right.
Because we know that is a tough job.
Very.
And especially living in New York. And, I grew up in New York City, as did you.
Right.
And, to volunteer, you're basically volunteering. I mean, you're getting paid, but you're choosing to be out there in one of the worst cities, or what could be one of the worst cities in the world,
right,
to protect and serve the citizens.
Correct.
Knowing that you're going out there and you're putting your life on the line every time you go out.
Rich, I want to jump in here and say it's different if you're being put in a beautiful neighborhood,
right, to
protect and serve, but a lot of our officers aren't.
Right.
They're put in specific projects.
Yep.
And not to knock the projects.
No, you're not. That's not knocking anything.
I'm just saying they're put into an environment that it needs extreme policing.
Right.
So I'm just going to leave it there because they're not put into a situation where it's rosy.
Right. Well, let's put it like this. New York has the largest police force in the country for a reason.
For a reason.
That's all.
Yes.
Because it's needed. It's needed everywhere. But, it has been in the news recently, and this does kind of hit home a little more for me because we had an officer, well, actually had two officers shot in the same incident. One of the officers was killed. The assailant, the attacker, was also killed in the incident. Officer Paul Tuzzolo actually lives around the block from me in Long Island. And so, my wife, Linda, she's very civic minded.
Right.
And she got a phone call from one of the other parents who lives even closer to the family, to the Tuazola family. And they started off yesterday morning saying, what can we do?
Right.
It's, for one now, because it's I believe he was a sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
NYPD has a car positioned there 24/7.
Right.
The news stations are down the block. They've got the block roped off, so if you don't live on that block, you're not getting there in the first place. They're doing everything they should.
Right.
But, as a community, we say, what can we do for this family? So, my wife and the other mother, Tam, excuse me, they got together and they decided, you know what? Why don't we just do a community collection?
Right.
We'll make a card. We'll go door to door. So she walked like 4 or 5 square blocks around the house yesterday, just knocking on the doors, telling people what they were going to do,
mm-hmm.
asking to sign a card,
mm-hmm.
and that's all they're doing. But if they wanted to make a donation, that was fine.
Right.
Of course, just about everyone donated something.
Right.
So they were able to put together a gift card for the family. There were 2. Unfortunately, it's so sad. Officer Tuazola leaves in that immediate family. He leaves a wife and 2 small boys. I believe they're 4 and 5, or they're 3 and 4.
Wow.
Yeah, cute little boys, and she's young as well. So, this is a tragedy that's really going to strike the entire family. So they were able to put together a collection, get a little something for the boys, get something for the mother. Went by the local restaurants who have already committed to like whatever they need to eat for the next year, which they just got to stop by. It's a done deal. Everyone's coming together in the community to support them. It's just one of those sad things. We know that these gentlemen are out there, gentlemen and women are out there every day doing this job, and I can't understand or can't imagine how the wife feels when he left the same way he's done every day for the last, I believe he's at least like a 20-year, 25-year vet, and he's walked out every day, came home every night.
Right.
This one he didn't. And it's just such a sad thing. So really, our sincere condolences to the Tuazola family. Whatever we can do for you, if all you got to do is ask, we will try to be there to support you, so you don't have to ask.
That's true, and it's like I said, we speak so loosely sometimes about our law enforcement.
Yep.
We're quick to put a video, a smartphone to see, if they're doing something right, if
right.
not, and we're quick to upload it. And
right.
Granted, there are some bad apples out
Absolutely.
there. There are some.
Goes without saying. We know there are.
But what about the hundreds of thousands of,
good cops,
law-abiding
right.
cops that put their lives on the line every day?
Right.
Without a question, without any notice or anything like that, they're there. So it's got to take a moment out for that family and keep them in our prayers. And just as you mentioned, anything that we can possibly do on the show or above and beyond, Well, we're going to move because we have our featured guest on the line. The segment, I would call it Women on the Sidelines. Miss Yolanda Tucker is an empowerment and self-confidence expert. Because we have to think about it. And within 48 hours, that glass ceiling could be breaking. And it's ironic and it's also symbolic that this is going to happen, or this has the capability of happening while Hillary Clinton is at the Javits Center.
Yes.
Under a glass roof.
So.
But wanted to speak with our master of motivation, Miss Yolanda Tucker, because I want to tell you this much. More than 1 billion women and girls alive today will be victims of gender-based violence in our lifetime. Only 22% of parliamentary representatives in the world are women, and less than 20% of the U.S. Congress. Only between 10 and 20% of women in developing countries have land rights, and we consider the world we want to build beyond 2016. Women and girls must be at the front and center of development. Without women, strong, sustainable growth cannot be achieved. The evidence is solid, and yet no country can claim to to have fully achieved gender equality. Miss Yolanda Tucker, how you doing?
I'm well, and yourself?
Doing well, doing well. Glad for you to take a few moments out to join us this evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you taking the time to have me on the show today.
No problem. I guess there's so much to cover here. You've authored several books. Your latest book, the title is so catchy, and I know you hear this all the time, Pink Pussy, Pies, and Peanut Butter. We'll get to that, but there's a few questions before, because also you've written Blessed Beyond Belief, Lessons Learned, my Reflection, and All I've Ever Wanted to Do is Love You. So wanted to get and just open it up to say to you, does the message to women need to be updated?
Yes, it definitely does. We are technological advanced. We are, we can hold a conversation on pretty much any topic around. So yes, it definitely needs to be advanced. It's more than just raising children and cooking meals and taking care of a household.
Interesting. So, Ms. Tucker, I have a question. So,
okay.
We're here in the United States, and we claim to be one of the more civilized countries on the planet. So, why is it that women are still behind in America?
You're breaking up on me. You said, why is it that women are?
Why is it that women are still behind in America?
I think women are so behind in America because we haven't really had any female leaders to have taken us to the next level. Our First Lady is the first of her kind. If you think about it, she is the first lady that has ever had a Ivy League education in the White House. So I think she is definitely one of the forerunners and one of the pioneers of today. And she has brought forth empowerment for women and girls that we haven't had in the past.
Okay. So then would you say that women and girls suffer from lower self-confidence or lower than men? And if so, why?
I would definitely say yes, and I think because we have more societal influence on the way we look, what we wear, than men. So that has become the focus and the forefront for women in the past, which, fashion is great and, being beautiful is great as well. But in the 70s and 80s, it's my opinion that took the forefront. It wasn't education. It wasn't, girls being scientists and astronauts and, being proficient in math. It wasn't those type things. So now that, here in 2016, women are still trying to break the glass ceiling, like we're, like you said when in your introduction. In 48 hours, we could have our first ever female president. Women are still breaking glass ceilings when it comes to being CEOs and, running corporations and small businesses. We are still making history,
right?
And it's 2016.
So how do you think, what more could women do to get ahead in this world if people refuse to assist them in boosting their self-confidence?
I think, we're being educated faster than males. So, we are definitely coming along. We are looking at careers and businesses that were more male dominated for many, many, many years. Like for myself, I used to work for the railroad, and that was a male-dominated industry for many years. I'm still in the transportation, was in the transportation industry, very male-dominated. So women are starting to hold positions of influence and of power in those industries, and that's going to help change the dynamic of the way women are looked at in America.
I understand. Okay, that makes sense. So then it sounds like not only is it a case of women have to empower themselves, but they have to, I guess, develop a thought process around this. How does that get developed more so, though? I mean, obviously there's education. So, of course, we've been recently, everyone's looking at STEM, science, technology, education, and math,
Well,
increasing.
I personally work with, I have a program in the high schools here in Duval County. And so one of the things that I'm doing with the young ladies is telling them or encouraging them, I should say, to get a mentor in the field that they want to approach when they graduate high school and college. Sometimes we don't know how to maneuver ourselves through, the career wheelhouse, because we don't know who to ask. We don't know what questions to ask. We don't know what move to make. I know personally, if I had a mentor, someone who was in the field that I wanted to be in, who was doing what I wanted to do, I think that would have helped me along a little bit faster, because there was someone I could have gone to and said, "Hey, how did you do this? How can I go about doing this?" And it's more encouraged for boys to have mentors to help them along, but it's not so. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not so common for girls to be encouraged to have mentors and actually seek those mentors out. And when I say that, I mean all different types of fields.
Right. So I'm guessing what you're saying also is that even from the institutional side, educational institutions, they need to put forth more of that effort specifically for girls to assist them in getting trained up to the same level which boys are being trained up and educated.
Yes, because, when I grew up, it was more, oh, you're a girl, so, we get you a Barbie house, we'll get you some dolls, and you sit over in the corner and play house. We need to encourage our young ladies to, like I say, be mathematicians. I haven't seen the movie yet, Hidden Figures, but I'm so excited, to know that there were several females, that had such impact on our history. It's amazing and unbelievable. And why haven't we heard that story before now?
Right. This is very true. So I would assume then you're looking forward to the potential of Mrs. Clinton being elected, because there couldn't be less of a powerful individual, to be an example from girls than to have a female president of the United States.
I am certainly looking forward to President Clinton being elected. I'm excited. But I'll say this. If you look at the election, look at how she has been defamed, lied on, talked about. I mean, it has just gotten to be, I've never seen a presidential election with two men get to be this belittling, this just downright nasty. I've never, ever in my 41 years seen anything like this. And I don't understand why is it, and especially she's a Caucasian woman, why is it that she is catching so much other than she's a woman?
No, I know what you're saying. I understand it. And that is a question that who knows who could answer that, or if it could even be answered. But now, Ted had mentioned something. We're going to go off on a slightly different tangent here, because the name. So Ted mentioned, I guess, your most recent book, Pink Pussy, Pies, and Peanut Butter. What? I don't know anything about this book, so tell me a little bit about it. Tell our listeners a little bit about it.
Well, let me start by telling you how I got the title. I was was here at the house one day, and a friend of mine was over. We were playing cards, several of us. And so one of my girlfriends leaned across the table, and she says, "I don't care if I have to sell pussy, pies, or peanut butter. I'm going to buy a bedroom set this year." And I said, "What?" And she repeated it, and I told her, I said, "That's a book title."
Okay.
I didn't know just then how I was going to make this book happen, but I knew that was a book title, and like you guys said earlier, a catchy one.
Yes.
I added pink to it, and it took me a couple years to write the book, not because I couldn't write, but because I had so much other stuff going on, and I went back to school and got a law certification, which took a lot of time.
Yes.
So after I finished my law certification, I promised some of my girlfriends who had been hounding me about this book that I would finish the book. I had started it, but I hadn't finished it. In that period of time, there have been children that I've literally gotten out of my bed to go look for because they were missing. Their mothers had gotten with men. They met on Plenty of Fish or at a club or wherever it was. And, you know, mom brings this guy home, and the next thing we know, child is beaten, burned, missing, whatever it is. Mm. And so I said to myself, you know, I am so tired of women making choices and not thinking about how the choices will affect them later in life and how it will affect their children.
Right.
So then I had a couple of good girlfriends, and they had these crazy, wild stories. So I said, and the interlude of the book is, you can go out on the website and read the interlude of the book free of charge. The interlude of the book is an actual story. A friend of mine called me one day, and she was telling me she'd been having an affair with a married man for, I don't know, years. And she called and shared this story of her having sex with him in his garage. Mm. And after, you know, she told me the story, my first question was, the wife was home. So you have to read the interlude to get the rest of it. But the wife was home. And after she told me this story, my first question to her was, do you know that lady could have killed you and there was nothing that anyone could have done about it?
That's right, on her property.
Right. So, and then I started to think, wow, it's an amazing story. And I said, wow, we always say that men think with their little head, but women do the same thing. And we need to talk about it. We need to have conversations.
Yes.
You know, a lot of women are like, oh, that's so taboo, and that's this and that's that. Well, that's why young ladies are going out doing some of this crazy stuff and making some of these terrible decisions, because no one has had these conversations with them. They haven't, you know, been allowed to voice what they were thinking, so someone could say that's a good idea or that's not a good idea.
Yolanda,
they're just out doing this stuff.
I have to jump in here and say this is going to be a great discussion for our podcast. Mm-hmm. I definitely have to have you come back. What I'm going to do is I'll purchase a copy. I have to read your book, and then I definitely want you to come back for the podcast.
Great. I would definitely love to do that.
And that way we can delve even deeper into this book, because the title alone catches you. But just with you telling us that brief story about it and really just the interlude, I definitely have to read it, have you come back, and we can sit down in depth where we aren't so pressed for time. But I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. But tell us best ways to find your book, best ways to find you online or on social media.
The best way to find the book is Amazon.com. All of them are out there. And social media, Twitter, I am at MSYM Tucker. On Facebook, I'm Yolanda M. Tucker.
Yolanda Tucker, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, fellas, for having me, and I look forward to the podcast.
Definitely.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that was a great conversation. It was very interesting and uplifting, and along with that, the book title and the glass ceilings, and I mean, I'm actually going to, you know, usually I wait for the review,
right,
and I wait for a book or someone's publicist to send me the book. I'm actually going to buy this one.
It sounds. I'll read it after you do.
Yeah. It's one of those. But hey, guess who we have in a queue?
Who?
Our good friend.
No.
Dr. Michele Reid.
You mean the missing seat?
The missing seat. There's a mic. We're going to take a picture of just the microphone and post it on Facebook.
Yes, and I feel the need that I should have been there, especially since she said fellas.
Yeah.
A little estrogen in that whole conversation besides her, Miss Tucker.
Yeah.
But thank you, Miss Tucker.
How are you, Dr. Michele?
I'm doing fine. How are the both of you?
I am doing great.
Doing wonderful. We are missing you, I tell you that much. I just took the picture of the microphone. We're going to post it up there and tag you. Instead of where's Waldo, it's where's Dr. Michele.
Dr.
It's just
Michele?
going to show.
That's fine. I don't think you were really missing me that much because I had to call to speak to you.
Oh, stop. Please.
Well, we know you're always so busy, so we can't just
Of course.
interrupt you, you know.
It's like I say every week, Rich. If she's not giving a speech, if she's not
running a marathon
in another state,
you
know, if she's not
taking care of kids,
being a wonderful wife, you know, empowering people, you know, or it's sitting here coaching us on, you know, on life.
Or she's not out being a doctor.
Or she's not out being a doctor. I'm not really too sure, but what's going on in the world of Dr. Michele?
Well, just trying to keep busy and work on building up my craft, so that way when I come back on the show, I will actually still have a seat and a position.
It won't be me taking it. Don't worry about it. You have a seat here.
But just to piggyback off of what Ms. Tucker was saying earlier, we all definitely need to have mentors.
Yes.
And it really helps for us to see someone in the position that we would aspire to be in. So I wanted to be a doctor, and luckily I was able to find a female who was a doctor who also mentored me, along with my doctor who was a male. But it really, truly helps because we need to be able to visualize where we want to be in our life.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. So other than that, well, you know what? It was daylight savings time.
Yes.
I mean, it's officially as of 2 o'clock this morning.
Yep.
So I think I'll fast forward a little bit because it's it's almost Monday. And the question I always have for Dr. Michele is, what's my Monday motivation?
Well, you're going to have to hold tight and see what the Monday motivation is, because I'm not doing a sneak peek today. There is no big reveal.
We don't get a preview?
No preview today. But I would like to say, since today was a Marathon Sunday for New York City, I want to say congratulations to the class of 2016.
Yes.
A lot of my fellow sisters from BGR ran, and I am just so proud of everyone who went out there and pounded the pavement for 26.2 miles. I wore my shirt and my vest from last year's marathon in their honor.
Nice. Very nice.
So today when I woke up, I thought I could sleep for an extra hour, but no, my body still woke up at the same time, but an hour earlier. And, you know, it was just a little different type of feeling that I had this morning because it was very sentimental because, you know, last year this time I was running the marathon.
Right.
And I just thought of a totally different perspective and made me feel very grateful that I did have the opportunity. And at the same time, I was excited for the people who this was going to be their first time. And I don't think, you know, running, it never really gets old to me.
You just keep on doing it. I know, you know, again, from the experience my wife had with running the marathon, it seems like it's a life-changing event for you when you run it because, you know, all the work that you obviously put into it, all the training, all the time invested, and you get out there and, you know, I haven't done it, so I'm only speaking from what I've heard, but you get out there and at a certain point, you know, it's not even a physical thing, it's a mental thing.
Oh, it's all mental. It's all mental. And the other thing, too, is I think it also inspires others, especially your family, to change their habits and to make them a lot more intentional in what their routine is when it comes to exercise.
Which is always a good thing. I know I'm out there. I'm still doing my time in the gym.
See, now, wait a second. See, I wasn't talking about you now.
That's okay. No, that's all right.
Oh, someone's taking shots.
Silence.
She's taking shots and she's not here.
And see, it's different. It's different when she's right here. I can like almost choke her, but I can't. But it's okay. It's okay.
See, violence on the air. That's something we have to talk about. Because you heard him, Rich. I said I could just choke her.
I did not say that.
I thought I said I was choking, and she helped me. I don't know. But
that's all right. That's okay. But I just wanted to stop in, say hello to both of you, and I'm glad that my seed has not been taken by anyone else.
Oh, stop.
It is yours.
It's definitely yours. Come on.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh,
that's fine.
Other than that, Dr. Michele, what are the best ways, if anyone who's a patient that's listening and they require primary care physician, what should they do?
All right. So the name of the practice is MS Family Medicine, and the phone number, because we have 2 locations, one in Garden City and the other one in Rosedale, Queens, but the phone number is 516-794-2200. That's 516-794-2200, extension 8 to make an appointment. And you can also go to our website, msfamilymedicinehealthcare.com. That's msfamilymedicinehealthcare.com to make an appointment online, too.
Perfect.
But otherwise, for Dr. Michele, for Ask Dr. Michele, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at AskDr Michele with 1 L. So Ask Dr. Michele.
Perfect. Dr. Michele, as always, I know we will be speaking during the week. Looking forward to, I guess, working with the Ask Dr. Michele team tomorrow?
Yes.
8 p.m. Eastern?
Yes.
All right. It's, you see, you think I forget this type of stuff. I don't. I'm there. As long as I have that number, I'm going to be there with bells on. And
that's your reminder that I will make sure that you get it. And if you do not get the number, I'll be looking forward to seeing you at an exercise class on a Friday night at 7:30 at NX Generation.
You got it. Thanks so much, Dr. Michele.
Good to talk to you, Dr. Michele.
Have a great show, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
You
Bye.
too. Bye-bye. Always good to talk to Dr. Michele.
Always. Richie V, as I said before, no promos. Our super producer, engineer, Brian, is like, what? What do you mean no promos?
Nothing to play, no buttons to push?
Nothing to push. Rich, I think for the remainder of the night, I'm not talking Jets. We're not talking sports.
No, you have to talk some. Ted.
No, we're not talking sports.
Okay.
I want to talk totally tech with you.
All right. I'm going to you have to talk one sport, though. I mean, we did have a World Series.
Oh, yeah.
Since the last show.
We might as well talk about it. I mean, the Mets did not win the World Series this year. So. But the Cubs did. The 108-year drought is over. Go Cubs, go.
And kudos to that city for not tearing the place down.
I know.
When their town won.
What's up with that?
Thank you.
I mean, that's strange, right? They actually don't tear the place down, So
it was good.
All right, so we talk sports.
That's it.
That was done. That was done.
That's all it was.
See, when you said sports, I thought you wanted to talk Jets or something like that. No. Come on, man. Fitzy. You want to talk about a blown season?
Done.
But I want to talk tech with you. A lot of things have happened in the since you've last been on here. I want to throw out a couple things. I do want to have a 2-minute rant. The 2-minute rant is on Apple. And it's on the two things, the two acquisitions that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Apple is what it is. It's Apple Music. It's this. It's hardware. It's services. You got Twitter out there begging to be purchased.
Yep.
Every time you put together some type of product review, you show your integration with Twitter.
Yes.
To me, it's like a marriage made in heaven.
It would seem that it would make sense. I mean, we know Apple's got billions of dollars in cash on hand. Cash. Write the check. Buy the company.
Buy the company. For the company to live, to survive, they need, a rich sugar daddy.
Yes, but now maybe that's why they didn't do it. So, I mean, we go back to, what was it now, 3 years ago? 4 years ago? 3 years ago when Twitter went public. Mm-hmm. And things were rosy, things were great. Their, stock prices went up. First year comes along, they still can't make any cash. They can't find that way to turn a profit. Stock price starts slipping. There's a couple of bumps. It comes back up a couple of times, but they never could find a way to make money, become financially stable without continuing to borrow cash. Maybe, Apple can still do the same type of advertising without buying the company. Everyone is still tweeting out an Apple link or a product link, or every news organization, every reviewer is still tweeting it out, still linking, so they're getting the same ad without paying anything for it. So why buy a company that still looks like it's gonna cost you cash out of the box because it's not making money?
No, it's not making money, and the user base itself is not growing like I guess they want it to grow. I want to throw out one other thing where they kind of just irked me. So you had Time Warner out there.
Yes.
With all the various properties that fall under Time Warner.
Yep.
It would seem to fall into the Apple wheelhouse because every time you see a product review, they're hawking their Apple TV.
Right.
And, hey, you can get to Game of Thrones. Hey, you can do this.
Right.
Hey, you can pull this up. Why not purchase the company that has more properties?
That would make sense.
That would just make too much sense. I mean, that's just my rant. I want to throw out to you 2 questions. You can answer them however you want to answer them.
Okay.
First one, you saw 2 product reviews, one with Apple and one with Microsoft.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you which one was more impressive and why. And a follow-up question is the Google iHome
You talk about the Alexa
yes,
clone, if we want to call it that?
Yes. Is it the Echo killer? Those are the 2 questions.
All right. So I'll go on that first one, Apple versus Microsoft, and all their new releases this last week. So they present to us the new equipment, the new hardware coming out.
Right.
New MacBook Pros. All new computer in the case of Microsoft.
Right.
Apple shows us a slimmer MacBook Pro with another.
I want to stop you right now because
as we look at your older MacBook Pro.
You're looking
right in
at
front
my
of me.
older MacBook Pro
Yes.
from 2013.
Yes, looks very similar, with just one difference to the brand spanking new MacBook Pro in 2016.
Right.
And that, of course, yours does not have a little strip along the top,
Oh, goodness.
replacing the function keys, which I can insert smileys. I know it does a lot more than that, but again, that's not what they put in the advertising. If you want to show this thing for its capabilities, don't show me that I can click to put a smiley in a message.
Right.
Show me like what it has, some of the capabilities that once all the software is integrated, I can slide there and I can do my light adjustments. I can slide there and change masks in Photoshop. I can slide there, or I can tap there and bring up, again, the options that will be available in the function key. Don't show me smileys. But even so, for me, that is not a huge tech breakthrough. To me, that's basically, all right, granted, sure, it's got a faster processor. It's still Retina display. It's a gorgeous display. You cannot knock that at all. Never could. It's thinner, but then didn't they also get rid of some more ports, I believe? And now we're purely USB-C.
Purely USB-C.
Which, what's the number? I think the number is 39.
Yeah.
The number of dongles that
Yes.
Apple sells so that
Yes.
you connect their devices to anything else in the rest of the world.
Oh, my goodness.
That's silly. I called that.
Beyond silly. You did call that.
I called that one.
Ugh.
So now that's the Apple bash, if you will. Oh, and didn't they also change the power connector?
Again.
Everyone loved the MagSafe. I mean, I admit when MagSafe first was released, because yes, I'm an old school computer guy.
Right.
When I saw a magnet next to my computer, I was like, no, this doesn't belong here. You don't put magnets near computers. But, okay, fine. It also saved, like they say, saved a lot of computers because people trip on cables, things fall, nothing fell. It was great. It was wonderful. Why change it for what seems to be the sake of changing?
Because that's what they do.
That's what they do. Yes.
That's what they do.
Yes, that is what they do. So that's the Apple side of what we were presented with at a high level. Then we go to Microsoft, which now, granted, it's clearly obvious they took a page from the Apple design school
Yes.
and the Apple advertising school,
Yes.
presented us with, which is also a gorgeous piece of hardware.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay, it's Windows again. Windows 10, wonderful, beautiful touch screen. Okay, so everyone wants to go touch except for Apple on their primary computers. I don't get that still.
Unbelievable.
And single design. Slides up and down. It's on the hinge. It's really, really a nice design. And I forget what it's called, the hockey puck, which is that's what people are going to term it. I forget what it is called, but that puck interface piece,
yes,
put on the screen, twist it, turn, dial,
yes,
selections.
Yes.
Obviously, that's going to be the same thing, that the software has to be enabled to understand to use that. I see that as more innovative, especially considering that it's Microsoft,
mm-hmm,
as a more innovative than virtual function keys along the top. That's just me. I see that as more. And then there's always pricing. Apple hardware is still considering that it's the same Intel processors inside.
Right.
Oh, wait, no, Apple's using the last gen.
Right.
It's the same video processors inside. Yeah, they've got Retina. Why do they have to have such a premium? And they're making it. It's not like they're saying, okay, well, they're making a lot of it overseas, but
right,
they're making it.
Right.
It doesn't make sense why you have to have that huge premium. So for me, if you want to say who would have won this battle, if we wanted to call it a battle or this round, I give this one to Microsoft.
Gotcha.
When you have developers, when you have reviewers out there who are saying, I was thinking I was just about to get me a new Mac, but
mm-hmm,
now I don't know. I'm either not going to get a new one,
mm-hmm,
or those who were thinking, all right, I'm done with the PC, I'm going to switch to Mac. There, you hear more of, no, I'm not going anywhere, or I might go to PC.
Right.
So, that makes it really, really sound like Apple has missed the boat on something. But, you and I talked about this before. I think we are really seeing now the effects of Apple minus Steve Jobs. There was never, ever any issue of him being the design leader.
No,
he was the
all.
Creative genius behind that company.
Not at all.
They have limped along on everything his last designs were for the last couple of years. Look at iPhones.
Yes.
They've gotten all the things that you expect. It gets thinner. It gets faster. They try to figure out some little tweak to put in there, haptic touch and a double touch and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still the same things. They're
Same
tweaking the OS like they should. That's still the same product.
Rich, I still believe that from mobile OS in regards to Mac OS, Sierra should all be one universal.
Bring it one. Make it one.
One universal.
Yes.
That way you can finally get it together. Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3, and there's no difference.
Right. Yep. I totally agree. It would only make sense. And then you can unify your devices even more. So then you can have more of an experience of, when I walk away from my computer, my full-scale computer device, my mobile devices in my hand is exactly the same and everything comes across.
Right.
Then you've really got something.
Right.
Which, Microsoft has been trying to do that for a while now.
Yes.
They may be getting a little closer. If they can ever come up with a good phone OS.
I saw the HP Elite.
Yeah.
I was going for a walk one day. Either I sent it to you or you sent it to me. Yes. I know I was going for a walk and I said, my goodness, this is the iPhone killer.
Yes. Yep. So it's coming. They are getting closer and closer. They are on Apple's heels now.
Right.
Someone comes out with that right OS for the mobile, Apple, I think, is in trouble.
I know we still didn't. I didn't give you the chance to answer the question about the iHome.
Yes.
But what did you feel? Because you've been a supporter of Android.
Yes.
For the longest of times.
Where is it? It's in my pocket.
Right.
My Galaxy S6.
It said Androids.
Yes.
9 of 10.
9 out of 10. Devices.
Worldwide.
Yes. So once you leave the United States, or actually once you leave the big cities where people can afford the expensive phones, it's a world of Androids.
Oh, my. I tell you, when I saw that, you were the first one I thought of. I said, well, he's been screaming Android. I don't know. You know,
it's getting better and better. Android OS is great. I mean, Mac. I'm not knocking iOS. iPhones are great devices. They stable, easy, no problem. Android took a while to catch up.
I just think the iPhones are more user friendly for our not so tech savvy population.
Yes,
and you can learn it with ease.
It took me a long time to realize why, for a long time, I did not like Apple products. And it was purely because, yes, I am a tech guy. I like immediately getting under the hood of my devices, physically and, software-wise. And Apple isolates you from all that, which is good for the end user. It's good for, if you can take a Mac, give it to your 6-year-old, 7-year-old, they'll probably figure out how to do the basics pretty quickly. Or you give it to your mother, your father, you give it to someone older. They can use it easily. You don't have to worry about a whole bunch of training. They get into it. Yep, and the Windows has gotten better with that. But if we're talking, 2 or 3 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, there was definitely a disparity on ease of use between the two factions, if you will.
We're going to table the iHome question because I heard Walmart has the device.
The new one?
But isn't able to sell it as of yet.
The Google, I was looking at CNET.
Okay.
And they did a review of the devices side by side.
Okay.
Just, very lighthearted, ask the questions.
Right.
Ask the same question from one and see what the response is and go to the other. It's from what they, put in the review, it sounds like the Google device, it's got a little more polish to it as far as the interface. It sounds like from the questions they were asking, it does a little more predictive responses. So, where is this movie playing and what time is it playing at?
Right.
And what time, and then from then what's playing after it?
Right.
It follows up with those types of questions better.
Where echo, you have to repeat echo.
Yeah, you got it right.
Blah, blah, blah.
It doesn't quite get that. I personally like the voice in the Google device better.
Okay.
It sounds less robotic, but,
Okay.
It is an electronic device, so nothing wrong with that. It is smaller. Again, you can't be sure just from the review which one is more responsive, how fast it comes back with an answer.
Mm-hmm.
But, they both they're great. Now, you have one of the devices, right?
I have an Echo.
How much do you use your Echo, and what do you use it for?
I use it for listening to podcasts, listening to radio, asking a random question as an alarm. But along with it, you have to train it.
Right.
So when you take it out the box,
right,
there's some steps that you have to do.
That makes sense to me.
You just can't say, okay, here's what we're going to do right now.
Okay.
Bake me a cake.
Okay.
And that's not the case. I mean, there's steps you have to do. And along the way, it's going to understand. I mean, does it understand everything I say out the box? No, it doesn't. Right. And then you have to be kind of coy sometimes with how you ask the specific question. So I can't wait to get my hands on an iHome.
Google, are you listening? We would love to review one or two. And Amazon, if you're listening, we'll do a side-by-side. We'll give you the real honest review here.
Random question for you.
Yes, sir.
Because we are running out of time. There's 2 final questions I have for you. One, real quickly. In your mind, is the NFL destroying its league?
Now, I'm not the huge football fan.
Right.
But, looking at football from a high level in the stands over the years, you got to wonder what's going on. Yeah. They seem to get involved at the wrong time and not involved at the right time.
Right.
I mean, they just don't seem like to have a right handle on how to manage their players.
Right.
And what they need to do for their players. And they don't need to control their players. But, I mean, when you got a whole bunch of guys that some of them didn't graduate college because you yanked them quickly.
Right.
Or they're all young and they've got all this crazy amounts of money. They're going to run crazy. They're going to run wild.
Right.
They're going to do whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do it. You've got to school them ahead of time. I mean, what do you do? but it doesn't seem like they're always responding appropriately.
No. I just want to comment real quickly on the product itself for the fans, for the casual fan.
Yep.
I have a problem when some of these games are strictly on the NFL Network.
Okay.
And if you just, by now, if you don't have the NFL Network, you're just out there.
Yes. Whatever.
I have a problem when, this game isn't streaming on Twitter. And you're like, wait a minute. Why is this game? And lastly, why are you trying to shove the Browns versus the Ravens or the Titans versus the Jacksonville Jaguars down my throat?
In New York.
Why? Why would I want to see that? Quickly, I want to move on to with you November 8th. November 8th is not only Election Day.
Yes.
We know it's important to get out and vote.
No matter who you vote for, get out there and vote.
It's also my anniversary.
What?
Yeah, I think it's year 18.
18. I remember 18.
Man, you remember 18. Oh, man. I just think of all the stuff. I'll leave it as stuff.
We'll see. All right. So 18 years is a long time. Congratulations, Pam.
Yes.
Can I say your wife's first name on the air?
Of course.
Congratulations, Pam. I have had the honor of knowing this gentleman for the last 13 years now, you for almost as many. Congratulations. 18 years. That is definitely something to be proud of, especially in this day and age.
I mean, I'm going to say this much. There's a lot to do with you got to stay with it.
Yep.
Were there all good times? No, there weren't all good times. It's a lot of drama.
Mm-hmm.
But you stay there. You stay with the person, and through all the drama, she still decided to stay with me.
Mine has stayed with me now for going on 26. I don't
26 years. I was going to say 28.
26. It was 26 this year.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably, do a little seminar for the young folks on that because, I mean, let's face it, and I am far from the relationship expert. Let's put that out there right now. But when you're in something for that long and it still works and it's still good, you do learn a lot.
Right.
And you can advise people.
Yes.
And offer suggestions.
Hey, switching gears for the last time.
Yep.
Any concerns about November 8th? Any concerns about voting? Any concerns about cyber attacks or ISIS or any of this propaganda that's out there?
The only thing I would be concerned about ISIS is if they just try to, have some explosive or something like that happen in the area. Mm-hmm. We always forget that because we're in New York is a hotspot. New York is a focal point. But, they could do this anywhere in the country. And that's what you really, really have to be scared of. The cyber attack thing, I'm not as worried about that. We're always being cyber attacked anyway. I mean, you can go to any one of many sites to see what's going on, to see how many attacks happen basically every second. That's less of a concern.
Yeah.
What I think we probably have to be most concerned with, if the election goes one way and not another, if a certain faction of people just decides that, no, this is wrong and I didn't want it to happen this way. And, the things we've seen out of people's mouths and what the hidden beliefs which some people seem to have had that have come out, if they start to decide that they want to act on it some more. I think, it's more a civil thing we have to worry about than anything else at this point.
Richie V, what's the best ways to get in contact with you?
As always, the best way, catch me on Twitter, Richie V _NY as in New York. Catch me on Twitter, or you can catch me on Facebook at The Real Richie V.